Imagine spending your entire life proving people wrong. Every time you succeed, someone tries to rewrite the story so your success looks like a lie. Now imagine that happens to you twice in a week. I mean, come on. Once because of your race, once because of a throwaway comment at a dinner party you didn't even choose the guest list for. Now, that's the story of Meghan Sussex this week. Yeah, the Duchess of Sussex. And by the end of this episode, you're going to see why it's not really about her at all. It's about how society treats everyone who doesn't stay in the box they were assigned. Welcome. This is Majesty Sussex Report, and I'm Antonio. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time here with us. Don't go anywhere. Here is that intro. Thank you for sticking around. Well, today we've got 3 stories, perhaps 4. I'm not sure yet, but for sure we've got 3 that all ask the same question. Who gets permission to tell their own story? And who gets their story told for them? And here's a question for you. So, when a Black professional career implodes over misconduct allegations, why does a British tabloid columnist's mind go straight to Meghan Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex? Why? Ask yourself that question, right? Sit with it for a second or two. I'm sure most of you probably know the answer to that, because that's exactly what Amanda Patel did this week. The story? Well, this is a story. So you might have seen the scandal of Jason Arday. If you live in the UK, probably 100% you have. So Jason Arday, who gained widespread fame in 2023 when he was appointed as the youngest Black professional in the history of the University of Cambridge at the age of 37. He faced major controversy, the major controversy that culminated in his resignation from Cambridge this month, August 2026. The core of it is that there was academic plagiarism and data falsification, fabricated and exaggerated credentials, and embellished personal backstory. While Cambridge University originally defended him, the university announced formal internal investigations into his qualifications and misconduct as evidence started to mount. And earlier this month, he handed over his resignation, saying that all the scrutiny was taking a toll on his family and personal well-being, while continuing to reject the narrative that he had acted dishonestly, right? So all this stuff came up about his falsification of his qualifications, basically selling himself in his CV, this sort of grandeur kind of persona. Now, Jason Arday's story fell apart. That's a real separate issue with real consequences. But, Patel didn't stop at Arday. She reached across an ocean, right, and grabbed Meghan Sussex, a woman with zero connection to this scandal, and used her as the punchline. Listen to what she wrote in her little article here.
The similarities between Meg's and Jay's go beyond exaggerating their early struggles. Meghan did anything to get herself on TV, including a stint as a briefcase girl on Deal or No Deal, before she married someone guaranteed to keep her in the news for the rest of her life.
Sit with that phrasing for a second. Anything to get herself on TV. You know what that implies, right? So anything to get herself on TV. Again, I've talked about words, phrasing, how they construct a sentence, how they construct it, and the words that they use. Because whether you know it or not, your brain is already telling you what to think about that person. It is reinforcing, right, all of that negative narrative that they have been pumping out for the last decade or so about Meghan Sussex. So that does not sound to me like journalism. I don't know about you, but it doesn't sound like journalism to me. Or does it sound like something else? Because if it's not journalism, what is it? And here's where it gets almost comedic in its hypocrisy. Because the same outlet, the Daily Fail, is the one that manufactured the poor upbringing narrative about Meghan Sussex in the first place. Remember the infamous 2016 headline, straight out of Compton, describing Meghan's mother's neighborhood as gang-scared and downtrodden? Meghan never even lived there. She called it out herself as factually wrong. So which is it, Daily Fail? Is Meghan a poor kid from the streets or a privileged liar who never struggled? You see, the Fail wants it both ways. Whichever version does more damage in that moment. And of course, it didn't stop with Meghan. It moved to her mother, Doria Ragland. Commentators like Carol Malone went on air and falsely claimed Doria had been in prison, that Thomas Markle raised Meghan alone. None of that is true. But once you understand the pattern, you start to see it, right? And you start to see that it's not random. It's a machine. It's all premeditated. Here's the biggest question I want you to think about. How many times have you seen this exact move happen to other successful Black and brown women and men? Not royals, just ordinary high achievers. A Black executive gets promoted, and suddenly they are anonymous quotes questioning whether they're really qualified for that position. A Black student gets into an elite university, and someone whispers, affirmative action, affirmative action, instead of asking about their transcript. Does it sound familiar to you? Because it sounds very familiar to me. This is what researchers call credibility discounting. And that's the instinct to treat a person of color's success as suspicious by default, and to go looking for a reason to invalidate it immediately. You have to find a reason why to invalidate it. The moment anything nearby goes wrong, you immediately associate, right? Oh, I knew it. I knew it was affirmative action. Oh, I knew they were all like that. You know, they all lie. They all lie. They all invent these stories that they were poor, but they weren't really poor. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? That is what credibility discounting is all about. When you get good grades, you know, it's not that you studied hard. It's that, oh, well, you probably had like an easier exam, right? And it keeps happening to Meghan because they know this feeds into their narrative. It feeds into it. It keeps the dumb people, the really stupid people, the deranged people, it keeps them deranged. It happens in boardrooms, in classrooms, in newsrooms, every single day to people who will never, right, have a Netflix documentary to sort of show you how it's happening or to defend themselves. It happens all the time. So when you see Amanda Patel tie Meghan to Jason Arday's downfall with nothing but vibes and racial pattern matching, ask yourself, how many people in your own life have had their achievements treated the exact same way? Guilty of success until proven acceptable. Because you see, it can't be just that you made it with your hard work and studying hard. No. Your success, there's a guilt to it, and they have to find it. You see, they have to find a reason why you passed that exam, why you are a doctor, why you are a pilot, why you are an architect, why you are a successful entrepreneur. Oh no, affirmative action, obviously. Well, let me tell you, there were so many doors open for that one because they couldn't have done it by themselves, right? Look at the present Supreme Court of the United States. I'll give you two people, well, three. Think about Brett Kavanaugh. Think about him. Think about him. I had a debate. I mean, ridiculous. Think about Amy Coney Barrett. These people, their qualifications, these people are upheld as if they were these brilliant people. And then look at Ketanji Brown Jackson. Look at her. Look at the dignity that woman had to have in order to go through her confirmation. Look at the questions that they asked her. Look at the impeccability of her qualifications, her experience. But you see, the people questioning her, they needed to find guilt in her success, in her triumph, in her hard-earned position. They needed to find the guilt to justify, oh well, were you, madam, were you were a recipient of a scholarship. It was $10, wasn't it? Wasn't it $10? You were recipient. I mean, I am speaking to you. You shut up. I am the one who's speaking. You shut up. Right? That's the way it is. So Patel needed to somehow find and connect Meghan to this issue. How pathetic.
Life is full of surprises.
Hi Meghan, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
I love shortbread cookies. I mean, everyone loves Thin Mints, but I love thumbprint cookies, so shortbread is good, and I dip them in jam.
When we were making this film, I got to travel and taste a lot of cookies over many, many weeks, so don't sleep on the lemonades.
What would you tell yourself as a little girl now?
That life is full of surprises.
You and your role model when you were in school.
I mean, it always goes back to your teachers, I think. I had a great teacher, Miss Linda. I looked up to her so much. She was my math teacher, and I'm not good at math.
What is your family/kids' favorite cookie?
Samoa's, well, I would say that's a pretty big fan favorite for my kids.
Is it okay to have dessert before dinner?
Great question. My kids would love that question, too. I think in summertime, the rules become a little bit more flexible. As long as you're having a nice balanced meal, dessert can come when you like it, but I would typically prefer it.
What makes you feel bright?
My daughter. Every day when I feel a little bit like, oh gosh, can I do this? I go, we'll leave it, do it.
I feel the same way about my kids, even though they're bigger now.
What is a skill every young girl should learn?
Really early on, one of the most important skills you can learn is to trust your gut. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right.
What's your superpower?
What's your superpower, he said. I mean, I was thinking as being a mom, all moms, I feel like we have superpowers because we juggle it all and, I don't know, enjoy it all with grace and grit at the same time.
What if I told you an entire international scandal, headlines, articles, outrage, was built on a woman admitting she barely spoke to Meghan at a dinner party? That's not a setup for a joke. Trust me, it's not. That's literally what happened this past week. So here's the story. Martha Stewart sat down with People magazine for a career retrospective, her 85th birthday. Her businesses, her legacy. Meghan wasn't even supposed to be part of the topic. But Stewart, I guess in her savvy of how media works, mentioned she'd recently been at the same dinner as Meghan. And then she said this.
I didn't talk to her really more than to say a couple words, but I know she was talking about it. If you're an actress, it's hard to then transition to a princess, and then from a princess into a homemaking guru on a television show.
Here's the question you should be asking. The same question the interviewer should have asked. If you barely spoke to her, that is Meghan, Martha, how exactly do you know what she was talking about? Nobody asked that question in the moment. Instead, within 48 hours, that vague, secondhand, unverified comment had transformed through nothing but repetition and speculation into headlines claiming Meghan was gossiping about a private reunion with King Charles. I mean, they're really trying hard to pin this stuff on Meghan and on Prince Harry. Oh, they leak. Okay, people. The dinner host later told People the whole thing was simply untrue. Meghan had only mentioned her family enjoyed their European holiday. That's it. That's the whole scandal. Think about how all of this actually spreads, right? It's not that different from a childhood game of broken telephone or telephone, however you may call the game, except the stakes are a person's global reputation instead of a silly sentence getting jumbled. Here is the pattern that has emerged that should worry all of us because it's also all over on social media. It is just what is seen now as quote unquote normal. It's not only affecting the Sussexes, but I would say any of us, because a vague, unverifiable claim gets stated by someone with credibility, and sometimes on the internet or on social media, not even someone with any credibility at all, right? In this case, it could be a celebrity, an insider, quote unquote, an anonymous source, and then media outlets competing to be first rather than right, sharpen the vagueness into something more specific and dramatic. By day 2, the manufactured version is treated as established fact. And the correction, when it finally comes, if it ever does, gets a fraction of that attention. And that is worrisome. Because a reputation, it may take you 5, 10 years to build. And just with a couple of clicks on a keyboard, it could be done, completely undone.
I had dinner with Meghan Markle the other night. Well, she was at the same table. So I can't say, she wasn't my guest. We were both guests at a dinner party in California. And she had just gotten back from the palace. And I think I didn't talk to her really more than to say a couple words, but I know she was talking about it. If you're an actress, it's hard to then transition to a princess, and then from a princess into a homemaking guru on a television show. It doesn't sort of follow. So go from there.
Well, Martha Stewart, somebody at that dinner party just called you out and called you a liar. And by the way, Martha also admitted in the very same breath that she barely spoke to Meghan. Because according to People, and now a source who says they were sitting next to Meghan at that same dinner party, says Martha's account is simply untrue. Are you lying, Martha, or are you showing signs of dementia? Because how exactly do you know what Meghan was talking about when you just admitted you barely talked to her? And Martha, since you were so quick to critique Meghan's career path, let's remind everyone your career trajectory. Your resume goes from model to Wall Street stockbroker to caterer to cookbook author to homemaking and lifestyle mogul to convicted felon to federal prison, so go from there. Meghan had a wildly successful blog called The Tig, years before she met Prince Harry. Food, travel, entertaining, fashion, and wellness were already part of her brand. Returning to the lifestyle space makes perfect sense. Imagine having a felony conviction and auditing someone else's career trajectory. Martha criticizing someone else's career path is certainly a choice for a convicted felon. Apparently, actress to Duchess is confusing, but stockbroker to convicted felon makes perfect sense. Meghan's career trajectory didn't require a federal sentencing hearing. And that's the read. If you like your tea hot, share it, save your seat, and follow for more. This is the Notorious JTB, notoriously opinionated, signing out.
What if the monarchy was handed the one chance to prove it could evolve and chose comfort over courage instead? That's the claim Omid Scobie made last week on the podcast Pop Syllabus. And once you hear his argument, you may never look at the firm the same way again. Or perhaps we already know this, but it's nice to hear someone else say it, right? So here's the story. Scobie didn't frame Meghan joining the royal family as just a love story. He framed it as a test, maybe the test, of whether Britain's monarchy could actually reflect a multicultural nation and commonwealth, instead of just performing diversity for photo ops.
It was interesting. I mean, I think the revival of Meghan was like the ultimate test for the royal institution, because it was like, can it adapt to a multicultural or a diverse Britain and the Commonwealth in a way that it needs to? And it was its one and only chance. And we saw that in the actions that followed, it failed at that. But so much of it was just about not defending her from the inevitable attacks and sort of one-sided coverage that came from the tabloids. You know, I think we've kind of discussed to death those early days of the headlines of Straight Outta Compton, because her mum lived, 45 minutes away from Compton, and somehow the newspaper connected it together, or there was talk of her being raised on the wrong side of the tracks.
When she went to private school.
Yeah, exactly. There was,
yeah.
I remember the Daily Mail did a family tree of hers, and they called her family and her past sort of upwardly mobile, and it was like from cotton picking to wherever. And it was just like, okay, so already, without opening her mouth, without even knowing anything about her personality, she was getting the British tabloid treatment, which is always going to be from that place of, if you are different, we're going to treat you as such, and we're going to lean on stereotypes, and we're going to pander to the lowest common denominator, or their reader. And so I think when she then started to develop her own opinions and thoughts on things, that was like, kind of like made things doubly hard for her. And then when it got to the point where she started speaking out, because she was already a woman of color in a hallowed, ancient, traditional institution, the fact that she spoke up and didn't seem deferential to it or indebted to it for this golden opportunity made people angry. It was like, well, how dare you? You're not even supposed to be there.
You should be grateful.
You're not even supposed to be there, but you're there and you're complaining, like death to you, you know? And that's kind of how it spiraled.
That's how it spiraled. I'm curious.
Now, there's a lot there that he said, right? A lot that we can talk about, but I want to concentrate mainly on the one thing to me when he said it failed. It's not that it struggled. It's not that sometimes there were challenges. It failed. It completely failed. Why? Because, as Scobie explains, the institution didn't just fail to protect Meghan from tabloid racism and sexism. Some within it, allegedly, fed the very stories used to tear her down, right? It was coming from within. She was attacked from the outside while being undermined from within. And when she reacted to that pressure, like any human being would, her pain became more ammunition against her. It's such impossibility. So here is a question. If an institution knows how to leak, knows how to brief, and protects its member when it wants to, why did it suddenly become so powerless only when Meghan needed defending? Why? Now let's zoom out, okay? Let's zoom out for a little bit, because this is bigger than one family. How many institutions, companies, universities, entire industries have brought in a quote-unquote diverse hire or a first, right? And you celebrated the optics of it in a press release, and then offered that person zero structural support once the backlash started. Zero support, right? We've all seen this play out. A company hires its first female CEO or its first executive of color, markets it heavily for the good press, and then quietly lets that same person observe double the scrutiny, double the criticism, with none of the institutional protection given to predecessors. It's a well-documented phenomenon, sometimes called the glass cliff. Diverse leaders are elevated into visible positions and then set up to fail without a safety net, while the institution gets credit just for trying. Meghan wasn't given a cape and a mission. She was given a spotlight and zero shield, none whatsoever. And when she and Harry chose to leave rather than, keep absorbing the damage, the threats, ask yourself, was that abandonment, as they would say? Abandonment of duty? Or is it possibly the most reasonable response anyone in that position would have had? Do you remember that on the royal website itself, all the negative, misogynistic, racist comments that were there, and the firm did not take it down? They did not take it down. They did not turn it off. They kept it. They left it. Now let's see if you were to write a comment about, facelifts or Botox or someone being, anorexic, or someone possibly being bisexual, or possibly someone, in rose bushes, or someone having an affair with, communication director, or someone, something and something, or someone shot someone and then someone, died, but they don't say it's that the person shot them. There's many things that one could type and write on any comment. Let's see how quick it's taken down. Quick. How quick was it to change the website to say, oh, Prince of Wales William and Princess of Wales Catherine and their children? And how long did it take to say Prince Archie and Princess Lilibeth? How long? So when the institution says that it's not racist, we are not a racist family. We are not a racist family, not at all. And when that other Katie Nichols goes, and it's not only that, my dear, it's that she told the entire world that that we are racist, that we are racist, that we have a racist monarchy. I mean, how dare she? It's not like she just sold it to the island, you know. It went around the world. It went around the world. You freaking hypocrite. Hypocrite. I mean, possibly you don't live in United Kingdom, perhaps. Listen, like, you cannot, with eyes that are unbiased, and you cannot call yourself a journalist, a neutral journalist, and look at the treatment, the trajectory of what happened and what continues to happen to Meghan Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex, and not see the racism there. You are just lying, right? So the test was to see if they would at least do the minimum, and they failed. Now people argue and say, well, Prince Charles walked her down the aisle. He walked her down the aisle. He spoke to her black mother. You are just a moron. Let me just say that. You are just a moron. Because two things can be possible and can be true. I could be a racist and still hang out with my co-workers that are black and brown and every other shade, right? I can be racist and still go to a barbecue. I can still do all those things and still be racist. So two things can be true at the same time. That's for people who cannot fathom to think that there can be two things that are true at the same time. So the test, they failed it. And they continue to fail it. Because the person that wears the crown has not to this day defended his grandchildren and defended his daughter-in-law. Not to this day. And I say, if he doesn't even defend the military, he hasn't even defended the military when Trump said what he said. I mean, come on. Come on. All right, so after three heavy stories, let's end on something real. Remember, I told you that there might be a fourth one, so this is the fourth. A genuinely good night that some corners of the media tried their absolute hardest to turn into drama because they love the drama. Here's my question for you. If a photo can be read two completely different ways, which version do you think the tabloids are going to pick? I know you know the answer to that, but here's the story. So on Friday, August 7th, Meghan and Harry flew to Victoria, British Columbia in Canada, a place that means something to their story, of course, since it's where they lived before their move to California, to celebrate 40 years of the David Foster Foundation. This wasn't a random red carpet. David Foster and his wife, Catherine McPhee, are longtime friends of the Sussexes, going back even further than that. Catherine and Meghan both attended the same all-girls Catholic school in Los Angeles. Did you know that? Did you know that? I didn't. I really didn't. But I found out they attended the same all-girls Catholic school. Years apart, and even appeared in school musicals together. Meghan showed up in a strapless navy gown by Canadian designer Greta Constantine, hair swept into a sort of pulled back do-up, and wearing sapphire and diamond earrings that once belonged to the Princess of Wales, Princess Diana. That's not a small detail. Of all the jewelry in the world, she chose to carry Diana with her on Canadian soil at a night celebrating a friend's decades of charitable work. And what did that foundation actually do this weekend? It raised money for over 1,600 Canadian families whose children needed life-saving organ transplant, covering things insurance doesn't usually or would like to cover, like travel, rentals, or their rent, groceries, utilities. This final 40th anniversary gala alone raised $14.5 million. I mean, I'm about to cry. $14.5 million in a single night. Bill Gates was there, Adam Levine was there, Josh Groban was there, Chad Guger was there. I can't say his last name. CeeLo Green was there. This was a genuine celebration of 4 decades of changing families' lives. So here's where it gets almost predictable. A few seconds of red carpet footage showed David briefly turning to speak to Harry while Catherine had her arm around Meghan for a photo. That's it, right? That's the entire incident. There was the other one, actually, no, I just remembered. There was the other one where the four of them are kind of coming onto the carpet, and Meghan is just sort of like, which she usually does, which I also do, many people do. You kind of, the people are coming after you, you kind of like, oh, come over here, like the space is right here. And because Foster didn't take her hand or I don't know, grab her, I don't know, stopped and kissed her or something, there's this whole big incident. Oh, Meghan is snubbed by Hollywood royalty. Meghan being controlling, and she's ignored once again. So stupid, so stupid. Oh, it's a big snob. Oh, David gave Meghan the cold shoulder. But when you actually look at what independent observers who can review whether the footage, right, or the photograph, what do they conclude? There was no confirmed slight at all. Just a normal, busy red carpet moment with multiple people posing, talking, and moving all at once, stretched by commentary into something it was not really. Meghan was even filmed dancing joyfully to an Adam Levine song later that night. And she personally shared warm, affectionate, behind-the-scene video from the evening on her own Instagram. So, how often does a completely ordinary, even joyful moment get reframed as conflict simply because conflict gets more clicks than celebration? We're at that point in our society, in our humanity. What have they done? What have we done? Right? Because the generation after, like younger kids, this is what they're growing up with. When I hear kids say, I'll ask them, where did you get that information from? Oh, TikTok. Really? I mean, TikTok should be sort of like just a start off point, perhaps. Oh, well, this is trending. Oh, what is that about? Oh, they say blah, 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 blah. Is that true? Is that is that verifiable? Or is it just that we think, we thought, we feel? Right? This is worth thinking about beyond royal reporting. How many times have you seen an ordinary photo of two people, co-workers, friends, family, mid-conversation, and had someone caption it as an argument or a feud? Look, I speak a lot with my hands, right? And people may, if you take just a freeze a shot of me speaking with someone, you may think I'm angry, and I'm not, right? So a single freeze frame taken out of the flow of a real moving moment can be made to say almost anything. That's not unique to Meghan, but it multiplies 1,000 times with her. It's a pattern in how people consume this type of information and how it is framed, how it is weaponized into a narrative, while the actual context, the video, follow-up, first-hand accounts gets far less attention than the initial dramatic claim. I bet you anything, if I were to take that, any pictures and freeze it, and if I were to have the thumbnail say, Meghan snubbed again, I guarantee you, within less than 24 hours, the views would be at 14,000, 20,000. Because people are attracted to that negativity. People want to see her fail. They want to see her humiliated, embarrassed. So any of that kind of headline, they're quick to click to see, oh, yes, yes, yes. It's quite sad, isn't it? Because the truth is simpler and frankly nicer than the headlines. Two old friends threw a party that raised millions of dollars for sick kids and their families. And two other old friends flew up to celebrate with them. Sometimes the real story isn't the scandal. It's just people showing up for each other. Show up, do good. And maybe that's the version worth remembering. Really does. So we had 3 stories, one thread really. A tabloid columnist weaponizing race to discredit success. The recollection of a dinner party comments created international scandal, right? And an institution that had one shot to prove it could change and chose the old playbook instead. So here's what I want to leave you with. The next time you see someone's story get twisted, ask who benefit from the twisted version and who benefits from the truth. Because media literacy is extremely, extremely important. Extremely important, right? Question the things you read. Question the things that you observe, you watch. Don't think that a photograph, even though it may look as real as possible, that is actually real. I'll tell you this quickly. When the party, the last game was played between the football game or soccer between Spain and Argentina, there was an image of fireworks, and the image showed that it was in the colors of the Argentinian flag, white and blue. And when I saw that, I saw several other posts showing the same thing. And I thought, my gosh, like this match was really rigged. Like, I mean, let's not get into that right now, but it was the thought. And then I did what I usually would do. I started to do more research, started to look at more sites and to get further information to see if any other site was actually confirming that was the case. And then I eventually found a couple of sites that were debunking this idea that the fireworks were actually white and blue. What it was, the fireworks were actually white. And the reflection from the sky, like the blue from the sky, made it seem that some of it was white and blue. And they actually explained it, they actually showed it and showed the photograph. And I was like, okay, all right, great. So we have to be careful because the images are being manipulated many times and we don't know, right? So that's it. And I mean, again, who knows? I wasn't there. So who knows if that debunking actually wasn't true either. But it's important to have more information. than just taking it for granted from one place. Okay? So my dear friends, this is it. This is it. You know, I still can't believe we're already in August. I really can't believe it. But here we are. So if you've made it to this point, merci, merci. It is a pleasure to have you here. It is such a great thing for us to be able to discuss this sort of stuff, right? To exchange information. So I look forward a lot to your commentaries, to your comments, and your feedback. It's really important to have. If you are new around here, this is the first time you've discovered us, do subscribe. I really appreciate it. We all do appreciate it, because then the algorithm knows that we exist. Do all the other things that the algorithm needs us to do, like the cha-cha-cha, the samba, la lambada, the waltz, you know, the every other dance that, you know, just do it. And at the same time, leave a comment, forward this to somebody that you think might like it. What else you can do? You can like, comment, share. All right, that's it. That's it. Thank you so very much to all of our new subscribers. Gracias. Merci. It's so great. Thank you to have you join us, to be part of all of this and this journey that we are on. With that said, to my beautiful, beautiful people, all of you, people in the chat, in the clouds, the subscribers, our members, you are the best. You are just the best. Thank you. God bless. Take care. Be kind to yourself, to your loved ones, and to that stranger crossing your path. Be kind to them too. Until we speak again. Mwah. Ciao, ciao.
They twist my words like broken glass, cut the truth and sell it fast. Royal experts with a poison smile turn my silence into their headline style. Every show, every lie they spin, cashing checks off the skin I'm in. Even when I don't make a sound, still they put my name around. They say she's everywhere, but don't you see? It's their reflection staring back at me. Every day in their mouths, every night in their feeds, feeding the fire on manufactured needs. I could hide, I could pray, I could whisper, not speak, but the circus keeps running week after week. Negative voices cooking in their pans, spaghetti stories they don't understand. Royal expert with a borrowed crown, spreading falsehoods just to tear me down. Oh, they say I'm trouble, they say I scheme, but honey, their stories are a tabloid dream. Smile for the camera, don't say a word, they write their fiction, and the world's a show.